Yo guys, so let's talk about smart rings and in particular the Nova smart ring that I just got. So I think smart rings are the most under talked about piece of tech that we have right now, and there's some cool little features that you can do with them, but I'll get to why I think maybe they're not taking off yet later on in the video. So when it comes to simplicity and form factor, these by far take the cake. They're not really heavy, they don't really feel uncomfortable or anything, and they're very seamless, right? And for me, comfort, it goes a long way in literally whatever I do or whatever I use, right? I just want to be comfortable with whatever tech I'm using. And smart rings, they are literally the lightest piece of tech that you can have. They are going to be the most comfortable for the most part, and really they don't even take that much space. Maybe the biggest part of them is going to be the charging dock that they come with, but even that also doesn't take that much space, right? But the thing is, they just haven't taken off yet, and there's a myriad of reasons why that could be. So this smart ring is awesome. It's able to count my heart rate, my beats per minute, and it can pretty much do a lot of the things that smartwatches can do, but without the screen, right? So it can also be used as a sleep monitor, and it's just awesome to have all that being able to be tracked on your finger, basically, right? You don't have to strap it on your wrist as you would smartwatches, and the battery life lasts about 4 to 7 days. Now that is exceptional and really good, right? So I was a bit I was jittery in thinking that maybe the battery life wasn't going to be that long, because you have to remember this can also be used to monitor your sleep. So say the battery life is like 12 hours and you just had a long day, then you come home, you have to charge it. I mean, it's really gonna be like useless for monitoring your sleep, right? Because then like the battery life is going to be limited, and then that would just go against the whole purpose of even having the smart ring. And I also fall in the category of people that I just don't like to charge my devices often, right? Like the least the merrier for me, so having it go that long goes a long way for me. And it can also function at a depth of about 50 meters in water. Now that doesn't mean you have to go that deep, right? Like, I mean, to each his own. I don't know what everyone gets up to, but just goes to show how waterproof it is. So if you're gonna be using it while doing the dishes, taking a shower, or even like outside and it starts raining, those little splashes aren't really gonna do anything to it. They won't affect performance. They're not gonna really mess up the watch or anything. Maybe if like water gets in between you and the finger, like the heart rate monitor could like just not be as accurate as it would be if you were dry, but it's not really going to mess up the watch or anything. And it's a really cool looking smart ring, right? So on the inside, that's where there's gonna be the sensors. The outside, I would have preferred if the material was a little like more metallic feeling, right? Like if it was just like pure metallic feeling. And it's not the worst thing in the world, right? Like it doesn't really like make it feel or look any worse. I just honestly would have preferred, the more reflective look of it being an actual piece of metal. And as I mentioned, you can do things that you can do on a smartwatch just via the ring as well. So you could connect it to Strava, which you don't necessarily have to, but you can do that. And then you can also track your runs. So just things like that that just make it like a cheaper alternative to smartwatches. It's why I think some people may start moving towards that direction, right? Like not everybody necessarily needs a smartwatch, but being able to track all that information into a little piece the size of literally an ordinary ring, and then have that tracked onto the mobile app. I think it's going to be enticing for some people. It's just that right now it hasn't taken off. And I think right now the reason it hasn't taken off is either because people are comparing it too much or are too reliant on smartwatches, whereas getting a ring doesn't seem as convenient, even though it practically is, right? Like, so you can pretty much do everything. It's just right now it's in the early stages. Like in general, like the tech ring industry is in its early stages where they're taking baby steps, but I want to see strides at some point where it's like, for example, if you receive a text message or a notification, then there'll be like haptic feedback on the ring to let you know, just the little things like that. Eventually, when those start to get implemented, I think then they'll start to be big players and contenders against smartwatches. It's just that smartwatches, like when they came out, or the way they just revolutionized that industry, they dominate a big portion of that. So it's gonna be difficult at the moment for smart rings to even be considered an alternative. but maybe they don't even have to be considered an alternative. They could literally be their own thing. So the thing with smart ring is that they're gonna be totally reliant on the app, and if the app sucks, then it's going to completely affect just how much you enjoy using it, right? Because so much of it is also going to be reliant on the app. On a smartwatch, you can see everything that you do on the smartwatch, like tracking your heart rate and everything. That's all going to be on the face of the watch. Whereas the rings, you really don't have that. Like, you really are going to have to be reliant on the watch to check all that information, all the data that you get, any information about your sleep and so on. That's all going to be tracked on the app. So if the app is a horrible experience, that's going to totally affect why people would even want to get rings, or if it's even going to be worth it to get rings. So I did download the app, and it is straightforward. I mean, not like how I said, like I downloaded the app as if I had a choice, but it is straightforward, and it's not like bloatware, right? Like, there's not a lot of stuff that's just like shoved in your face that you kind of really don't need, and there's no like spamming of ads, so that's a good thing. And when using the app, like, it's really not complicated. You have everything that you need there: your heart rate monitor, your HRV, your blood oxygen. So everything's gonna be straightforward, and it's very simple to use. And I like that they also add some cool little features there. So for example, like meditation stuff in there, just to help you out, and all your data is there getting tracked as well. So I'm just happy that the app is like really good, because I actually love this smart ring, right? Like, it's one of those that I would definitely 100% recommend. And I didn't even get into that. So in the grand scheme of things, like, some of them tend to be like on the like really pricey, like on the pricey end of things, but this one really is. It's very affordable, and honestly, I would recommend it to pretty much anyone that asks, like, in terms of smart rings. The only thing that I'd say I didn't like about this smart ring literally is just, like, I would have wanted it to be more metallic, but like, that is literally the smallest criticism ever, right? Like, everything else, it's very comfortable to wear. It's awesome. The charging dock also, I didn't even get into that. The charging dock is cool. I've had a smart ring before, but this one, like, it connects magnetically, so it kind of looks like as if the ring itself is floating, and that just looks sick to me. So yeah, every aspect of this ring I love. It being able to track your health and data, which all smart rings do, right? But like, it's very accurate, and it's just an awesome piece of tech to have. And it's one of those that, like, at a distance, people look like, oh, like, it's you just like wearing jewelry, except that it's actually just a really cool piece of tech. I think in the grand scheme of things, I know I'm guilty of this, but I will just stop comparing smart rings to smartwatches, right? Like, I wasn't comparing them as apples to apples. Like, I knew it's definitely apples to oranges, but in a way, they have the same functions and they do similar things. So I thought, maybe people would be choosing between the two, but it really doesn't have to be a choice between the two, right? Like, you can pick one and still like the other as well. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna cut that out. I think, like, smart rings are in a realm of their own, and smartwatches are in a realm of their own as well. Both can coexist. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you in the next one.